Businesses are bouncing back.
There is still that really nice, bright, hopeful attitude.
2 years after COVID brought the economy to a screeching halt, we're taking a closer look at Colorado's recovery and why some believe we still have a ways to go.
I think the key to this whole thing that really needs to be focused on is stability.
Dropping the call. AT&T customers frustrated with weeks of little or no service.
I'm no lawyer, but I would assume there's a breach of contract going on right now.
Tonight, they're reaching out to contact Denver 7 for help.
An incredible recovery.
She has been getting that treatment for a while now, so she is pretty used to that drill.
A dog saved after a traumatic injury, now in need of a loving home.
She's grown into and blossomed into this high energy, excitable dog.
High prices at the pump and more expensive everything. 2 years after COVID-19 brought our economy to a halt, it can be hard to see how things are getting better.
But numbers out tonight suggest in many ways they are. There's a new report from the Department of Labor and Employment that says as of the end of January, Colorado has recovered all but 6,100 jobs lost during the first months of the pandemic. Data for February will be released later this month.
The unemployment rate is also on its way down. It's now at 4.1%, its lowest since February 2020.
And this comes as life returns to pre-pandemic normalcy. Today, the Denver Center for Performing Arts announced it will end its mask and vaccine policy starting March 28.
Also today, Pearl Jam announced they'll play at Ball Arena in September. You'll recall they canceled their concert in March 2020, making it one of the very first events to be called off because of COVID.
But as life begins to get back on track, some businesses worry that we're not out of the woods just yet.
Denver 7's Sloan Dickey is live in the newsroom to explain. Sloan.
Yeah, it's certainly a mixed picture when it comes to the economy. Businesses looking up, as you mentioned, that unemployment rate. But as prices increase for raw materials, there is certainly some businesses feeling the pinch.
We're in a great beer scene for Denver in general, so hopeful.
As the weather warms up at Bandit Oak Brewing, the outlook is looking up as well.
We are coming out of winter. Spring is right around the corner. It's a really nice day today. So around this time every year, we do kind of see things pick up a little bit.
Bartender Valerie Mole says the brewery changed its business strategy to weather the pandemic.
I would say there's a little bit of a shift there where people prefer to sit outside.
And relied on loyal customers to get them through tough times.
A lot of loyal people that have been clients of ours, customers of ours since the beginning. I mean, we really wouldn't be here without like our core group.
The challenges aren't over yet. Inflation has driven up the price of raw materials like grain and aluminum. The brewery also raised prices as a result.
We tried to make it easy to digest for people on the buying side, but it's gone up either 50 cents or $1 for every item that we have on our menu.
Jack Buffington with the University of Denver says inflation has erased many wage gains since the beginning of the year. Meanwhile, energy costs are reaching record levels as instability in Ukraine persists, impacting customers.
We're starting to see stability related to COVID, which is great, and then all of a sudden we rolled into this problem in Eastern Europe.
And as the economy changes, so will demands on small businesses.
Staying in business is more about like being innovative and creative in marketing and innovative in labor management and having, good suppliers and managing your inventories.
Which means Bandit Oak may have to move some things around over the next few months, but its underlying mission, that's staying the same.
It's all about community. It's all about like the connections that we make and the loyalty that people have to our establishment versus any other given place that will sell you great beer.
Sloan Dickey, Denver 7.
The Colorado Pharmacists Society blames the pandemic, low pay, and difficult working conditions for the shortage of pharmacists and pharmacy techs. Now, for months, people have been reaching out to contact Denver 7, saying they're having a hard time getting prescriptions filled on time. Well, Christina Simino went to urgent care Friday for a cough. She had her prescription sent to Walgreens in North Glen, she says, only to find out they were closed all weekend. And because the prescription was a narcotic, it could not be transferred to another pharmacy.
So for me, I spent the whole weekend in pain, coughing my brains out. And honestly, I just want to breathe. I really just want to breathe.
Now, in a statement to contact Denver 7, Walgreens apologized for patient disruption, saying they have experienced staffing challenges, and in some instances, they have had to reduce pharmacy operating hours. And we asked pharmacists what you can do if you need your prescription filled immediately. Now, if you do need it immediately, you need to make that part clear. Also, order refills earlier than usual. And as pharmacies deal with staffing struggles, you might want to look into one that might be having a little better staffing.
New tonight, a push to ban urban camping is once again taking center stage at the Aurora City Council. But a vote could once again be delayed. Mayor Mike Hoffman wants to add 2 amendments to his proposal to make sure no one will face further penalties if they move within the required notice time. Under the ban, police would remove encampments 72 hours after a notice is given. If the mayor's amendments are added tonight, another vote on the ban would be required in 2 weeks.
The November midterms now 8 months away. And at the Colorado Capitol, Democrats are unveiling new legislation aimed at increasing election security. The Colorado Election Security Act was introduced in the Senate today. It's a clear reaction to the criminal allegations against Mesa County Clerk Tina Peters. Now, the bill requires key card access to voting equipment and 24-hour surveillance. It also calls for more training and certification for elections officials. The bill also would ban election officials from serving if they have been convicted of an election crime. It also prohibits them from spreading election misinformation.
As misinformation and conspiracy theories, unfortunately, increasingly seep into our elections, we must take quick action to ensure our elections will always remain free, fair, and secure.
And we asked Senate Republicans about the bill. They tell Denver 7, quote, "Our senators will be tracking Senate Bill 22-153 as it progresses, and we sincerely hope for the opportunity for bipartisan collaboration presents itself when this bill is considered." The act will face its first committee test tomorrow.
Captured on video, a 24-year-old man is accused of attacking an RTD security officer. RTD says it began when the officer asked Shannon Hamilton for his ticket. The train eventually stops and a Denver police officer takes Hamilton into custody. An RTD spokesperson tells Denver 7 that while incidents like this do occur, they are not typical.
We know that a lot of our frontline workers are put in a position sometimes that are challenging. Our goal is to do everything we can to keep our customers and our employees safe.
At one point during the arrest, a gun appeared on the ground. Denver police say it was an airsoft gun that belongs to Hamilton. He's charged with trespassing, disturbing the peace, and assault. Concerns growing that Russia's war in Ukraine could spill beyond Ukraine's borders. Security video captured the moment a Russian rocket hit a building in central Kyiv, killing a person. That attack coming as Russia widens its assault west. Over the weekend, a missile hit a Ukrainian base just 10 miles from the border with Poland, killing 35 people. U.S. officials are now warning Russia could begin targeting weapons bound for Ukraine that are being stored in Poland. And if that happens, it would bring Russia into direct conflict with the U.S. and the NATO alliance.
If Mr. Putin was trying to signal his displeasure about a strong, united NATO with this war of his, then he's failed. Because he's getting exactly what he says he doesn't want, a strong, united NATO on his western flank.
On Tuesday, negotiators from Russia and Ukraine will meet face-to-face again in Turkey to continue peace talks. Meanwhile, the U.S. is now sending a warning to China: help Russia and pay a price. This comes amid reports that Moscow reached out to China for military aid. So far, Beijing is denying those reports.
People living in a Denver neighborhood are reaching out to contact Denver 7 as they put up with a lack of cell phone service.
Denver 7's Rob Harris talked to a customer who went to AT&T for answers.
Don't let his computer or 2 iPhones fool you. Michael Lewis says he's a simple guy when it comes to tech.
I'm pretty much just text, look up stuff on the internet. I mean, I really don't have social media.
That's why Lewis was especially frustrated when, in late February, out of the blue, both of his AT&T iPhones started dropping most calls, texts, and data in the neighborhood he's lived in for years.
I wasn't getting text messages, wasn't able to call, and I wasn't able to get any real meaningful service, and the problem has persisted ever since.
We tested out the problem. I walked out across the street to have Lewis call me from his phone.
You can see it's trying to call.
His first call didn't even go through, and the second... Yeah, you're very garbled now. Lewis is just one of several people who've reached out to Denver 7 to talk about this very issue, and dozens more people are talking about it on Nextdoor, having the same problems. What they say is especially frustrating has been the different answers each have gotten from AT&T when they've called to complain.
The explanations have ranged from, hey, it's your fault, it's my fault as the user, or my phone isn't up to date, or my friend has an Android and not an iPhone, so that's a problem. Several explanations none of which has led to any type of resolution.
We reached out to AT&T about this. A spokesperson said they ended 3G service in February, impacting older phones, and that they offered free replacement phones for customers. However, both of Lewis's phones use 4G and 5G service. AT&T also said phones bought from third parties or configured improperly could have issues. But Lewis tells us both phones were bought at an AT&T store, and both have been tested by an AT&T technician. All of this has him considering a service switch after 15 years with AT&T.
I've got to have a phone that's reliable. They're not holding up their end of the bargain.
Rob Harris, Denver 7.
And it's important to keep up to date with your phone provider to see how switching over to 5G will impact your service. AT&T, T-Mobile, and Verizon have all said 3G service could be impacted by upgrading to 5G. Daylight saving time arrives. After the break, we'll hear some of your thoughts on whether it's past time to stop adjusting our clocks.
And a barn burner in the city of brotherly love, the Nuggets and Sixers go down to the wire.